Good morning, sewing friends. I hope everyone is having a great day so far. In today's video, I want to show you how I embroider monogram letters on a towel using a Embroider PE 800 sewing machine. So this is one that I finished. Looks pretty good. It's for some girls that are graduating high school. And so I have another one to do. So the first step is to get it all hooped up. Figured out where you want your embroidery letters to go. And in this case, it was pretty easy because there's stripes down the middle. So I just picked the middle stripe, and this is going to be right around here is the center. So I marked 6 inches up from the bottom, and I used a purple fabric dissolving pen to mark the center where I wanted the C to be embroidered. So the C is going to be right there covering up that purple dot. The purple dot will go away, but just in case it doesn't, I want to be on the safe side and make sure that one of the letters is actually going over that mark. So I hooped it up with a tearaway stabilizer on the back, and that's just a medium weight. And then of course the plastic topper stabilizer will be on the top. And this is water dissolvable, but in this case with the monogram letters, as you'll see in the end, you can just rip it all the way off and you won't have to wash the towel afterwards. So stay tuned for a second. I'm going to get this in the machine and I will show you what we're going to do. One thing I wanted to point out is when you're hooping your fabric onto the hoop, you want to make sure that, first of all, that it's centered. So you can use the little lines inside the hoop to make sure everything is squared off and centered. I know they come with a guide in there too that you can use. I don't use that very often, but I know it is helpful. The other thing you want to make sure that you're doing is just making sure that everything is snug in there in the hoop. Check all 4 corners. Make sure they're all snug in there. So that feels pretty good after you tightened it. And as far as how tight to make it, what I usually do is kind of the drum test. Like if I can pat it a little bit and it doesn't move around too much, that feels pretty good. It's nice and snug in the front and the back. But you don't want to make it too snug because then your embroidery design that's in there will look like it's pulling from all direction, and you can't iron that out. It looks really, it doesn't look good at all. So it is definitely, it takes some practice, and you'll know your own machine to just kind of figure out in the material to figure out like, okay, how tight do I need to make this or how loose do I need to make this? But in general, you want to make it just tight enough so that it all fits in there pretty nice and snug. So I'm going to hoop it into the machine now and we'll start the design, and I'll give you a brief tour of the Embroider PE 800 machine. It's a great one if you're looking for just a single needle at home fun embroidery machine to have. So when you have your design loaded, whichever one you want to use, you are able to use the arrows. You can move it up and down. You can figure out where the center point is. In this case I need to move it up a little bit based on where my purple dot is. And then other things you can do is resize. So in this case, I'm actually going to make this as big as it's going to go, as big as it'll let me go. You can shrink it, you can make it bigger. There's some limitations there too. You can stretch it or widen it. With the letters too, there's different options. This is the large size, but then there's medium and small size as well. You can add another embroidery design in there by hitting the add. So if I wanted to add a star or a heart or something on there, I could add another design. So I think that where I have it here is going to be pretty good. This little button right here, this icon, if you hit it, it's going to move the needle and it's going to make a square, and so it's going to show you exactly where the design is going to hit on your material. So I always look at that. So when you're designing, when you're embroidering anything, you definitely want to play around with those buttons so you know exactly where your design is hitting on your fabric and make sure it's where you want it to hit. So I think I'm ready to go. So I'm going to hit the embroidery button there and drop my presser foot down. And then you want to definitely make sure nothing is tucked up underneath here. All of your fabric is out of the way. All of the extra paper underneath is out of the way. I've used hair clips before to hold fabric out of the way, and that seems to work pretty good. So you just want to double check, because once a piece of fabric gets like sewed up in that embroidery, you can't pick it out like a sewing machine. You can, but it's gonna be messy. So everything looks great. So if you're ready to go, then you just hit the green arrow button. And I'll let it start for a little bit. You won't have to watch. Oh, this does tell me how many minutes it's gonna take. So I'll get it started and then I'll shut it off and show you what it looks like when. Okay, y'all, I'm in the fabric store and I wanted to show you exactly the water-soluble stabilizer, that's a tongue twister, that I use for on top of my towels. So this is by Pellin. I don't know if that shows up. And it looks like a heavy-duty saran wrap. So it looks like this. It stretches just a little bit so it can stretch inside your hoop. And you want to put this on top of your towel inside the hoop. And when you're done embroidering, it's water soluble, so it can just wash out with water. Or sometimes, in the case of my towels, you can just rip it off and you don't need to wash your towel at all. But that is what I use. Okay, so the embroidery is all done. So I took it out of the machine and this is what it looks like. So I am gonna take my handy dandy, I have these little tiny Kai serrated embroidery scissors that I absolutely love. And I'm gonna take out, there's a couple little jump stitches, what they call jump stitches, between here and here, and then the starting stitches over here. So I'll quickly snip those off. Sometimes you do an embroidery design and there are like hundreds, it seems like hundreds, not literally, it seems like hundreds of little jump stitches. So you guys sit there and pick them all out. There might be a few on the back too, so you have to look out for those as well. There's just one right here. Then I'm gonna unscrew the back. See, there's like the screw there for the hoop. This is the best part of embroidery. I'll show you why. Take that hoop off. And then the front hoop off. Then, with the back paper just being a tearaway, you literally just rip it off. Makes it so easy. These letters are easy too because they're big and open. Sometimes when you get to like an A or E, it's a little bit different. So the back is good to go. And then the front with this is the water soluble wash away one. In this case, I've just been able to rip it off and not wash it. But if you have a design that's got a lot of density to it and a lot of little intricate designs in there, then you may end up needing to wash the towel before you use it to get all of that wash away soluble topper off. However, in this case, I did not. So here is the final embroidery engraved, that's the wrong word, monogram towel for my friend. At least one of them. So I've done 5. I have 2 more to go and then I'll be done with that little project. But that's it for today. I hope you enjoyed the quick preview of the Brother PE800 machine. I really like it. I think it's a great one if you're just looking for around the house fun projects for t-shirts, jeans, things like that. It is a great machine to have on hand. So I hope you all have a fantastic day and I'll see you soon. Bye.